good news to report on nearly all fronts.
Perch patterns have been working really well.
This week's BuzzBite report
Just keep snapping it off the bottom.
Auto chart live.
You've got fish doing a number of different things.
See a lot of them?
Oh, yeah!
They are heavy. Look at this giant. How's that?
Today we're talking primetime river fishing, hot angling tactics, and red hot bites from all around the upper Midwest. This is AnglingBuzz TV. I'm Dave Sanda.
I'm Troy Lindner.
Joining us later in today's show are BuzzBite reporters in the field with fishing updates from their local waters.
In today's show, we're talking all about rivers. And across the upper Midwest, there's quite a diversity when you talk about rivers. There's little streams, little creeks, giant rivers in between the Great Lakes, and bigger rivers out in the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. And this time of year, the summertime, it's hot out there. The rivers don't get as much pressure as the lakes do. The lakes get a lot of fishing during the summer, but a lot of these other bodies of water that we're going to talk about today get overlooked.
In fact, let's look at some classic river fishing environments, the principles of fishing in current, and ways to put fish in the boat this summer. Rivers are the lifeblood for farmers, communities, and fisheries alike, all across this great nation. They supply water for agriculture, to drink, and for supporting all manner of aquatic life, including many popular angling species. In areas where rivers are the only game in town, anglers usually fish them throughout the changing seasons. Yet where lakes and reservoirs abound, most river fishing tends to occur in spring and fall. The rest of the year, anglers flock to more expansive open water or ice, leaving rivers comparatively vacant and underfished. Along their courses, rivers vary by stretch, adopting the character of the surrounding landform. Some stretches provide better habitat for particular species, while other sections favor a different mix. In some cases, it might be walleyes or sauger. In others, largemouth versus smallmouth bass.
What do you got there? Oh, man.
Pike versus muskies.
Look at that fish, huh?
Carp and catfish.
You see the resemblance? Oh, you're a pretty girl.
Crappies and bluegills.
I'm starting to worry we didn't buy enough minnows.
Usually, it's mixed populations of several predominant species. One thing's for sure, because rivers gather nutrients along their course, they are often quite fertile compared to lakes and support dense populations of fish that grow surprisingly large. As such, they're some of the best trophy waters around.
Nice fish,
Hey.
Good job.
Good job.
In all cases, river fishing is a visual experience, where telltale current seams on the surface indicate what lurks below. Active fish often line up along the knife edge between calmer and swifter water, positioned to intercept food sources as they wash downstream. A mad dash into the fray to grab a meal, followed by a quick return to areas where they needn't fight the force of the current, takes advantage of the buffet that current delivers. Large, deep rivers with significant flow are the province of big boats. Smaller, shallower rivers, by comparison, are better suited to john boats, canoes, kayaks, wading, and quite often simply fishing from shore. As such, they require little investment in tackle and equipment to fish them effectively. A lazy day spent on a shaded riverbank, waiting for a bite, is mighty tempting when the weather's hot and the bite is even hotter.
Kissing. Oh, no way, I'm not kissing. Oh, gross. Oh,
And when it comes to fishing rivers, boy, shore fishing is perfect for that. I love to shore fish, and it doesn't require a lot of equipment. You don't need any electronics. Use one rod and maybe a handful of baits, and you can catch just about anything swimming.
And if you're fishing from a boat, you can drift down the river. You can visually spot the current seams where fish will lie. We know that any species of fish is going to lie in a little calmer water, dash out into the faster water to grab a meal, and come back in again. So with your eyes, you can pick out the key spots where those fish are going to be. You make a cast to where the most active fish will be, and you're probably going to catch them.
Yes. And well, that takes us to our AnglingBuzz news for this week. The 125th anniversary of the Minnesota State Parks and Trails is happening this year. The original state park was Itasca, and since then Minnesota has added more than 74 state parks and rec areas. In conjunction with this anniversary, there are numerous events happening all year long. In Wisconsin, the first statewide survey of native mussels is underway for the first time in 40 years. Now in Wisconsin, more than half of the 51 native mussel species are either endangered, threatened, or listed as species of concern. An interesting thing is native mussels must have a host species like a fish to complete their life cycle, which makes them very important to the body of water that they live in. On the other side of the coin, invasive zebra mussels do not. And that's why it's very important to help stop the spread of all aquatic invasive species by making sure our vessels, as we say, are clean, drain, and dry.
Sportfish Michigan is your #1 source for top charter captains and fishing guides in Michigan. Our network of professionals are full-time anglers with years of experience providing customers with the best possible fishing trip services. Fish for trout, salmon, steelhead on Lake Michigan or its famous tributary rivers, the Traverse City area's world-class smallmouth bass, walleye fishing on the Detroit River and Saginaw Bay, or northern Michigan's spectacular ice fishing. We do it all. Sportfish Michigan. Get out. Get bit.
Running in rough water can be a pain, literally.
Hey, I never knew how comfortable a ride could be.
Until I added Smooth Moves to my boat. Its 4-spring design with hydraulic shock can smooth even the roughest of rides. With the built-in slide and swivel, you maintain all the function of your existing seat. A turn of the handle adjusts for conditions and passenger weight.
Hey, it's easy to install and built to last.
Smooth Moves, your back will thank you. I know mine does.
Lake Vermilion. Explore. Relax. Reconnect.
Minnesota's most beautiful lake.
Get hooked on our trophy walleye,
That's a beauty.
bass,
My favorite fish.
musky fish.
That's a beauty there.
Things to do? You'll never get bored.
Rooms with a view? We got 'em.
Lake Vermilion. 4 seasons of fun.
Hey, we're back. We're still talking rivers. Rivers provide great fishing all year long. I know I'll often start out with spring steelhead or walleyes, fish maybe muskies and smallmouth bass in the summer times, find some time to catch a big catfish or two. Rivers are just blessed with a wide variety of trophy fishing opportunities you can't afford to miss.
Absolutely. And the one thing I love about river fishing is the shore opportunities. I can be just as happy in a bass boat out there chasing bass, walleye, smallmouth, or muskies, or just along the shore catching even small trout. I just absolutely love it. And right now, well, it's time for a highlight destination feature. We're going across the upper Midwest to some of the finest river systems available.
As the Missouri River winds its way across the Dakotas, it feeds a number of large reservoirs where walleyes are considered king, along with fantastic angling for big northern pike, abundant smallmouth bass, and an exploding crappie fishery. The Red River, stretching from about Fargo, North Dakota, on up to Lake Winnipeg in Manitoba, is hands down the world's finest channel catfish fishery. Huge numbers of cats in the 20 to 30 pound range ply its murky waters. What may surprise you, though, is how many big walleyes exceeding 10 pounds are there for the catching. The St. Louis River and estuary at Duluth Superior, along the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, hosts a great spring and fall walleye fishery, along with good numbers of bass, panfish, big pike, and trophy muskies all year long. As the upper Mississippi River flows from northern Minnesota down along the Wisconsin border, it changes from a small, rocky river supporting trophy smallmouth bass to large river and reservoir environments with strong populations of big walleyes, ponderous catfish, giant pike, largemouths and smallmouths, and some of the best panfish fishing around. The entire length of the Wisconsin River, stretching from the northern end of the Badger State down to its junction with the Mississippi, is a hotbed of walleye, smallmouth, and muskie fishing, with big cats and even paddlefish thrown in for good measure. In Michigan, the Saginaw, St. Clair, and Detroit rivers are best known for seasonal runs of huge Great Lakes walleyes. Yet there are many smaller rivers, particularly those flowing into Lake Michigan, where huge walleyes also lurk, and where seasonal runs of Great Lakes steelhead and salmon draw anglers from all across the upper Midwest. Small rivers feed big rivers, and both have opportunities for catching lots of big fish, plain and simple. They deserve far more angling attention and respect throughout the year than most anglers afford them. So if you're on the lookout for new water, give them a try.
You know, river fishing actually offers some incredible opportunities for a lot of the metro areas. Some of the bigger cities across the upper Midwest have 1, 2, or 3 rivers that run right through it that offer great fishing.
And speaking of great fishing, it's time to join our BuzzBite reporters in the field to see what's been biting on their local waters.
Our first BuzzBite report is coming out of South Dakota with Chad Schilling for some walleyes.
You know, the bites changed a lot right here in the Swan Creek area. The fish that were up shallow in that 6 to 12 feet of water have seemed to spread out. For that reason, we're going through a lot fewer fish. I mean, we're still catching limits come pretty easily, but it takes a little longer. You're not done before 10 o'clock in the morning anymore. They're concentrated more on the points. You're getting them on the tips of the points, little steeper breaks, things like that where you can catch them where they move up, and you kind of get them quick and then they're gone. Still the traditional bottom bouncer. I'm using a lot of pro tackle. I've actually went away from the spinners. I've gone almost strictly to the propeller baits. Smileys are they come and go as the day goes on. The slow death hook will make a presence as always. You can catch a few fish on that, but it's a lot of fun catching more catfish, northern smallmouth, all that stuff's still there. It's a good bite. It's not what it was, but it's still pretty darn good. Lots of boats out here and a lot of fun to be had. So come catch some of these walleyes with us.
Next, let's join Jason Mitchell up at Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Checking in from Devil's Lake, the bite's been pretty crazy. There's been a couple things that have been going on. First off, there's a lot of algae in the water. The water's starting to get some color to it, and then you top 20 to 25, 30 mile an hour winds some days, and the water gets really stained. And so sometimes we're actually having to look for cleaner water. Overall, the fish have slid a little deeper. We're catching a lot of fish anywhere from, say, 7 all the way out to 12 feet of water. I would say that's where the bulk of the fish are right now. And we're just pulling like this number 4.5 Salmo Rattle and Hornet. I've been running this here about anywhere from 40 to 70 feet back behind the boat, running that along the edges of the weed lines, and this parrot color has just been on fire. You can still catch some fish pitching cranks or fishing up shallower. In fact, we're catching some of the biggest fish still up shallow in less than 4 feet of water. We're also starting to catch some fish really deep out into 20, 30, 35 feet of water over the deep rocks. And so a little bit of everything happening right now, but I would say the bulk of the fish, across much of the lake are on that outside edge of the weed line, anywhere from 7 out to 12 feet of water. That outside edge of the weed line is really where it's at right now.
Coming up after the break, more BuzzBite reports as Angling Buzz continues.
Because boaters know and follow Minnesota's aquatic invasive species laws, 98% of lakes are not known to have any zebra mussels. 95% are not known to have any kind of invasive animals or plants. Let's keep it this way. Clean aquatic plants and animals from boats, trailers, and equipment. Drain all water from watercraft, including the motor, and keep drain plugs out during transport. Dispose of unused bait properly. Together, we're preventing the spread of aquatic invasive species in Minnesota.
Do yoga, do sunrise, do locally sourced, made from scratch. Do golf, do foot golf, mini golf, do soar, do jet, do cycle, paddle, beachcomber, do chill, do vineyard, craft beer, do toast, do another toast, do hike, climb, do wow, do flip, do smile, do laugh, do fall in love, or maybe next year, do it all again tomorrow. Lake Mille Lacs, do the lake.
Did you know that taking care of your outboard's fuel system is more than just stabilizing tank fuel? If you're not doing anything to clean and lubricate your engine, you're missing the boat. Seafoam motor treatment is made from highly refined petroleum ingredients. Not only does it stabilize your tank fuel, it works to dissolve residues and deposits from all the critical points. Cleans carburetor and injector nozzles, intake valves on 4-strokes, chamber areas, and compression rings. Seafoam is also a high-temp lubricant that continues to work under extreme chamber heat to help reduce friction and long-term upper cylinder wear. So here's the tip. Professional mechanics everywhere have been solving engine problems with Seafoam for more than 70 years. The great thing is, you don't need to be a mechanic to use Seafoam. Just pour it in. In fact, the more Seafoam you add to fuel, the better it cleans, lubricates, and protects your entire fuel system.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. Our next report is from Kevin Kelly out on Mille Lacs Lake. I was there the other day trying to, I guess, hit for the cycle or catch the big five.
Oh, yeah.
And which is a walleye, smallmouth, largemouth, pike, and a muskie.
Good place to do it.
Yeah, and I missed the pike. I had a pike bite, and I never saw a muskie, but I got the other three, so it's at least a start. It's like a triple. It's
Next
not
time.
too bad.
Next time.
Absolutely. Well, here's Kevin Kelly with his report.
Got a perfect day for fishing today, and we're catching a lot of walleyes. The bite's been hot. It's mid-July. We're fishing the mudflat edges. What I like to do is I like to back troll up and down those edges, and we're finding fish right on those edges. Sometimes on the top, sometimes on the bottom part of it, but anywhere from 25 to 32 feet. Our technique today is long Lindy rigs. I like to use a little bit heavier walking sinker, so I have a walking sinker about ½ ounce, and then I can stay real vertical, keep that sinker out of the mud. We've been catching many different size fish, which is good news for the lake. I know it's a catch and release lake, but you can't get a bite like this, especially in July. It's just been a blast.
And now let's head on up to Big Winnie with Grant Prokop.
The bite's been very good out there. They've been running crankbaits out there at about 2.1 to 2.5 miles per hour with about 90 to 130 feet of line out up on center bar, Bina bar, and rock fence. That 14-foot flat up on top of those bars have been excellent, covering a ton of water. If you can't get them to go on crankbaits, tie on a spinner rig with a leecher or crawler. Running those at about 1 mile per hour has been very, very good. Don't be shy to rig up a bottom bouncer as well. Water temps are about 72 degrees out there. With the sunshine that we're having today, you're going to see that water temp start to creep up towards that 74 degree mark, and go target those weed beds. The fish are in the weeds, the bite's been good there. Run a spinner on the edge of it, and you should have great luck doing that. Get out on that Lake Winnebagosh and go catch some fish.
Our next report is from Billy Rosner, and with the weather heating up, so's the fishing on Lake Vermilion.
We're definitely into our summer patterns up here, and it's really that time of year where it's windows of opportunity. Try to get out on the water early as you can, and then later in the evening, those last 2-3 hours, it's really a prime time to be out there, whether you're chasing muskies or walleye or even bass for that matter. Walleye fishing, it's pretty much your rigs with a half a crawler, and think transitions. On my Hummingbird Helix, I can really see those transitions nice, whether they're from rock to sand or sand to mud, along your weed lines. Those have been really working well for me, and the depths are kind of varying all over the place. You know, this time of year too, sometime as a guide, I kind of get caught up in my ruts, live bait rigging or whatever, but sometimes, you know, it's good for all of us to get out of our comfort zone and maybe fish some jigs and plastics in the weeds if you've never done that, or throw some jig and wraps in some of those transition areas, pull some crankbaits. That's all very productive, and they're all putting fish in the boat, so keep that in mind. If you're a little bored pulling live bait rigs or whatever, you know, get out of that comfort zone and try something new.
Now let's join Jeff Evans across the border in Wisconsin.
I'm with my good friends Greg and Geraldine Miller, and we're fishing the Hayward Lakes area today, catching big walleyes. Water temps are in the mid-70s, so things are heating up, and a very, very underutilized tactic is crawler harnesses at this time of year. It's a great way to locate fish. We've got a 2-hook harness with a bullet weight above that barrel swivel, and we're dragging that in about 15 to 18 feet of water, about 1 mile an hour along those weed edges. These fish are absolutely clobbering it. It's a great tactic. You can cover a lot of water to locate fish, and after you locate fish, you can then set up on them and maybe use slip bobbers, jigs and leeches, that type of thing. For more information on fishing to northern Wisconsin, Hayward area, check out jeffevansfishing.com.
Our next report, our man in Michigan, Captain Ben Wolf, and he's going to touch on a little bit of the salmon fishing, which has been excellent in the Great Lakes.
It's mid-July here in Michigan, and many anglers are talking about the Lake Michigan king salmon fishery. Ports like Muskegon, Grand Haven, Saugatuck, Manistee, and even Frankfurt are producing some very nice catches of king salmon right now, including some whoppers topping 30 pounds. Trolling remains the best way to target these king salmon, and anglers using a mix of spoons as well as meat rigs are able to boat these feisty Great Lakes salmon. For fly anglers wanting to hit the river, a mouse pattern fished at night is a great way to target big brown trout. Also, during the day, a grasshopper pattern is a great way to target the daytime bite. For bass anglers across the state, we have lots of options, even though it's the dead of summer right now. Spinnerbaits fished in the wind are a great tool to locate and catch summertime fish that are aggressive, and fishing the deep break down in the deep water with a drop shot rig is a great option looking for those deep water bites. For more information, or if you're looking for a captain or guide in the state of Michigan, please give Sportfish Michigan a call or check us out on the web, sportfishmichigan.com.
When we come back, cool products followed by our technique of the week.
This is my son, and I'm doing everything I can to raise him to be a good man, to teach him the value of working hard and doing things the right way. We come to Fleet Farm, just as I did with my dad, to explore, to learn, to laugh. Mills Fleet Farm is more than just a store. It's an adventure. It's a memory. It's my store. It's our store. Mills Fleet Farm, serving generations since 1955.
Lake Winnipegashish, Big Winnie. Let's go back in time to a real up-north vacation spot, a place where memories are made. Big Winnie is situated in the Chippewa National Forest and gateway to some of Minnesota's finest trophy walleye, pike, perch, untapped bass, and muskie fishing. It's the perfect place for family and friends when you really want to get away. Go to lakewinnie.net to find our little piece of heaven.
High-tech construction, building with old-world craftsmanship. Pride and passion, the same qualities that define high-tech construction go into every project we build. With meticulous attention to detail, our experienced tradesmen bring your floor plan to life. Our unwavering customer service results in a truly satisfying building experience. High-tech construction, where technology meets old-world craftsmanship.
And now it's time for our cool product segment brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. We have a nice little assortment of things here to help you catch some fish in rivers. Over here, prop baits. These are good for smallmouth bass, largemouth bass. A good buzzbait like this Terminator is excellent for largemouth. And then topwater, we're, it's summertime here, low water, clear water for smallmouth. Definitely having one of these baits for topwater is really good. You have a double prop, this X-Wrap prop is excellent, and a good popper as well. And then moving a little bit deeper, having a good crankbait to cover some water with is another good choice. These are both from Rapala, a DT4, a DT6. You kind of have a loud color, then a more natural crawfish color. And then rattling baits also in rivers are very effective for a variety of fish. You have a few different colors and sizes. There's a lot of different ones at Mills Fleet Farm. Pick the one that you want and get a couple different color choices. The fish will tell you which one they want most. And this is from Rapala right here. After you catch your fish, a good fish gripper. If you don't have a net, this is a nice option. These come in a couple different sizes and they float. And they're easy on the fish and they're easy on you. This is the Rapala floating fish gripper. I use this when I bank fish as well. It's really good. Up next is the Richter Anchor. This is the 18-pound anchor, and this is good for small boats and rivers. You see this little side thing, it slides up like this, the ring. Obviously the rope would be attaching to your boat. And then in the rivers here with snaggy bottoms and all the wood, some anchors, they don't work too well in these conditions. This does. So this locks you in a place like that. When you're done, you take your boat back upstream, this slides like that, and then pulls this out. It's very effective. Check it out, Richter Anchor. And for combos from Zebco, this is really nice. This is the Catfish Fighter. Again, you stop by Mills, they got a lot of different combos. The good thing about combos is the rod is balanced with the reel. This is the Catfish Fighter. This is a 2-piece rod, which makes it really nice if you shore fish, and also makes it nice for storage. This has a nice soft, or I should say a moderate tip on that as well, with a lot of backbone for some of these big cats that you're pulling out of snags and you're pulling them out of the current. This is a really good choice. It has a nice anti-reverse feature and a deep spool for heavier line. These products are all available at your local Mills Fleet Farm store. You can also get them online at fleetfarm.com. And well, that brings us to our technique of the week. Dave is going to show you some tips and tactics in rigging for catfish.
If you like to have a clean boat, don't go catfishing.
Well, the nice thing is, instead of bouncing around in big waves and whitecaps on a big lake trying to chase down a walleye, we're tucked down inside the riverbank here. The wind might be blowing 30, but we're not bothered at all. It's a good hiding place. Catfishing is basically hook, line, and sinker. Very seldom does it get more involved than that. Although, as always, you can fine-tune your components. You need a nice range of things that will cover your whole gamut of conditions you'll face, starting with these flat river sinkers. Thread your line through, put a bead on the back, and then put your leader on here. These will lay on the bottom and they won't get swept away and they won't roll in the current, so it'll keep your bait right where you're positioned. We have a whole array of different hook sizes here. These are all the classic J style or octopus hook as a VMC example. They're running up to about 6/0 in size, which sounds like a really big hook, but we're into some really big fish today. Here's our tournament circle hook, which is the hook that works so well for still fishing when you just have your rod in a holder and you wait for the fish to pull on the line, and basically they will hook themselves. We've got some nice barrel swivels in here. Last but not least, here's the model line that we're using, Suffolk Siege in 25-pound test neon tangerine.
Such a special place, and it's such a fun thing to do. It's relaxing. It doesn't require a tremendous amount of tackle, just a few simple things. Cats are a good time.
You betcha.
Let's get them back.
You know, that looked like a lot of fun. Catfish are incredible fighters, and then you mix the fast current and you mix a big fish. That's a pretty good workout.
I'll tell you what, you put a few 100 pounds of those characters in the boat in the course of a day, you're definitely going to feel it. You ought to add a few of those to your workout routine, in fact. Hey, we're just about out of time for today. I'm Dave Sanda.
I'm Troy Lindner. And please, when you leave the lake, remember, clean, drain, and dispose of any live bait. Help keep our lakes free from aquatic invasive species.
Next time, it's about whether or not, how weather affects your fishing. In the meantime, be sure to check us out on the web at AnglingBuzz.com. See what our BuzzBite reporters in the field have to say. And as I always say, we're going to help you put more and bigger fish in the boat in the weeks ahead.
This week's BuzzBite report.
Charlie Moore. Bray Brostow.
Lee Talkin here.
Brad Durick up here on the Red River.
Muskegon River.
Leech Lake.
Devil's Lake. Beautiful Lake Vermilion.
Black.
Topwater's been really, really fun.
Go to the plastics.
Bass like this.
A lot of wallies like that.
Giant bluegills.
From Sturgeon Bay.
From Lake Sakakawea.
Winnie.
Lake Superior.
Madison, Wisconsin. Good luck, everybody.
Have fun. We'll see you next week.